Hey, how's it going? My name is James P. White, and this is the Bald and Short of It podcast. That is Chris Mooney. I am short. He is bald. And look, I have a lot more hair. Think about this. 3 weeks ago, I had the same amount you have. Show people your hair. Show people your hair. See, 3 weeks ago, exact same. Now, dude, you wish you had this hair. And
Yeah, actually, we talked about that, and I kind of don't because, uh, like when you make the decision to be bald, you gotta stay on top of it, which means you gotta shave at least every couple days. And if my shit grew, like if my salad grew like yours, like even though even though I don't have to shave the horseshoe at the top, I'm still probably looking at twice a day because that shadow comes fast with that. Like your hair
so,
grows
so what
crazy.
do you nair it or do you get it waxed or what?
No, I have a, I usually I use a razor like in the shower, but I also have they call it a pit bull thing, and it's like those razors with the four little
Oh,
switchblade
it's,
things.
yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah, and
have I have an electric for
you put it on your
trims.
head, and you just go like that, and it does a real quick job of it, and it's really close, so it's kind of cool.
I say you nair that shit. Just throw a bunch of chemicals on there. Don't worry about it.
I've done Nair before in other parts of my body.
You should do it on your head.
I
Just
know
for
it's
content for this show. Do it
the
for the listeners. Do it for the listeners.
the timing has to be perfect. if you do it, if you rinse it off too soon, you're gonna get clumps that didn't come off, and then if you do it too late, in
You
my
burn.
case, yeah, big time, and that's not a good feeling in your nether regions. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I don't normally nether. I don't normally nair down there.
Yeah, well,
I've shaved down there like right down to the wood once, and that I got waxed.
yeah,
And
I stopped in there. I got that Manscaped razor thing, and that works really well. So,
perfect. A lot more information than I wanted to know. So,
my apologies. You're right.
so tell us about your week. How was your week so far?
The week was great. It kicked off pretty nice. You and I went to the hockey game. I'll let you talk about it, but uh, yeah, and then Thursday. I didn't do much Friday, but that's probably because Thursday. Um, and then well, you and Ian and I went out on Saturday, and that was a really fun night. Um, I went to Sherlock's because they had this kickoff party at on Rice Howard Way for the rodeo, the CFR, and
Okay.
there wasn't really a lot happening there, but Ian and I got to catch up, so had a few pints, and then we went to our favorite place, Julian's, or one of our favorite places, Julian's, and that's where you met up with us. And I just love
Yeah.
that place, so great. Um,
It
Everyone's
it
so
it's
nice.
so comfortable. You can sit at the bar. The staff are awesome. The piano guy, he's fantastic. He can
Yeah,
do anything.
yeah,
And they have a couple of different guys, and they're both still really spectacular.
yeah. But Dennis on Friday, if you ever want to check out a place on Friday, the piano player on Friday, Dennis is off the chain. But we already talked about that. So and then we ended up at our buddy Bayrax, and that was fun too. Did you leave with Ian?
No, I left before all of you.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay, because yeah, I pieced it together.
Like
Um,
I I needed to because I had to work the next day, and
yeah,
we were starting to get a little heavy buzz going. You were
yeah.
breaking glasses, and I was walking around with no socks on, and
Well, yeah, you didn't miss much. I remember when I woke up the next day, I got a text from you asking me if I was still at Bayrax. So you didn't leave too soon anyway. I must have come home fairly shortly after you did. But
yeah,
that
like
was
it was a fun night.
yeah. And then Sunday was my nephew's birthday, so we went to my sister's. My brother-in-law just got a new pellet grill like mine, and that was fun. But I was telling the story to my sister, uh, my younger sister, and because Dean got a pellet grill, and she's like, "So all you have now is your pellet grill?" Because I was saying, "Yeah, you don't need a barbecue if you get one, and you don't need a smoker." So before this year, I had a Bradley smoker. It looks like a little mini fridge, and you open it, and it has racks. And I got rid of that, and I got rid of my barbecue, and just have the smoker. And she goes, "Oh, well, what did you do with your Bradley smoker with the door and everything?" And I said, "I kind of lit it on fire." and then and then when I was telling her, I go, it just occurred to me as I was saying it. I'm like, isn't it funny that we say kind of when we fuck up? I'm like, no, it's either a fire or it isn't. Like,
Uh, at least you didn't blow it up.
no, yeah, yeah. There is no try. It's either a
Yeah,
fire or it isn't. And I was cooking a
yeah,
turkey, and actually I like the new one I have because it's a lid. With the Bradley, it's like racks, and if you have a big turkey, you only have so much room. And I slid it in, and after a few hours, you baste it. So I have it in a
yeah.
foil tray, and then I baste it, and the door wasn't closing all the way. And I finally figured that it was because the turkey was kind of sticking out a bit. So then I pushed it I kind of nudged it in more. And then all the drippings in the tray fell on the element. And then, and then like shit went bad. I had oven mitts on to pull the tray out, and I'm pulling it out, and one of my mitts is on fire. And but yeah, when I explained it,
Was the turkey eatable?
oh yeah, no, it salvaged the hell out of it. It was awesome. I'm looking forward to doing one in a couple weeks on my pellet grill. Nice and tidy and clean. None of that rack shit. But it definitely, I definitely didn't kind of light it on fire. That was the last time I used it. I incinerated it.
uh,
That in polite conversation, well, I kind of lit it on fire. Well, no, you didn't, Mooney. You you fucking destroyed it.
it was on fire.
Kind
Like the fire
kind of.
department was almost called.
Kind of like somehow absolving yourself. But anyway, that was a lot of fun. And then actually on Monday, the boys in the fraternity house had their meeting, and Barak and I went. Mike's such a rock star. Like he, I won't get too far into it, but for years and years and years, including like when Mike and I went through, like we had a pledge manual and it had all the songs and stuff. And and the boys go on retreats, or if they're hanging out at a bar or something, it's like, there's certain things we all know. um like, and recent generations of guys don't know a lot of those songs. So, and the pledge manual went from like being pretty thick to like being a few pages, and Mike just revamped the whole thing. So we brought it to the pledges, and um explained to them how that works, and how it would be cool if they learned some of those songs for like retreat. That's when they all get on a bus and go somewhere, and that kind of thing. So it was
Like kumbaya. It's a
not
small
not
world.
quite, not quite.
No,
More like,
Jesus loves me.
yeah, here's to Jimmy, he's got class. Here's to Jimmy, he's the horse's ass. Everybody say hi
Yeah.
to Jimmy, hi asshole. Everybody say hi to the asshole, hi Jimmy, that kind of stuff. No,
Well,
and they seem really enthusiastic about it, especially when Mike and I were peppering it into our conversation with them. So, but yeah, we plan on reading the riot act to the active chapter because we weren't getting enough pledges, and um, yeah, they bid like five guys. So things worked out much better than we thought, and we hung around and chatted with the boys for a while. So that was a really um, like I texted Mike the next day. I'm like, there isn't a scenario I could have seen where that would have gone better than that. So that was great. And then yeah, we had yesterday off, so that was pretty much my week, business aside.
yeah, my week was kind of just work, and we normally do this podcast on Monday. Today is Wednesday, and I was sick as a dog. I got hit like Sunday. I got hit with a really bad sore throat and started to get bit sniffles. Kind of pushed through to do work, and then I got up Monday morning and I felt like like a bag of hammer shit. Like I was coughing and sputtering. I had snot coming out of places that it shouldn't be. And I've been kind of working on my concoctions, again. So this one's really good if you do have a cold. It's ginger, lemon, and honey, and then mixed with water. And if you want to make it an alcoholic beverage, you throw some rum into it. Hence, I'm drinking some spiced rum, and this
Well,
it's it
I
does.
remember like I called where you texted me and you're like, I'm not going to be able to go today, like last on Monday because you felt like ass. And
Yeah,
you're like officially, and it's funny because like we're just coming out of summer and this is basically like cold season, right? Because people are inside more and blah, blah, blah. It gets
yeah.
passed around. You're literally the first guy. Because like when you told me you're sick, I'm like, that's weird. Like people, this isn't when people get. I'm like, oh fuck, it's like almost October. So you have the honor of being the first sick guy that I know in
But then I
our.
stayed away from everybody, and then I didn't get anybody sick, and
Yeah,
I'm
and
doing much better. I flooded the heck out of it. I eat a lot of spicy foods because it kind of makes you sweat and helps you burn off that stuff. Garlic works great, especially for sinuses. Anything that makes your nose run is good for when you're sick
yeah,
because it
and
helps
like
flush out your system.
yeah, and like a couple episodes ago, I was kind of called to the mat for maybe being a shitty friend, and I asked you if you needed anything this time, and you said nope, I'm flushing it out. So you
I'm
take that shit
flushing it out.
seriously. It
Oh, I
sounds
do.
like yeah.
I have set things that I use, and they work every time. And on Monday, I just drank a lot of fluids, a lot of vitamin C, because that's where the lemon and stuff comes in, and then sleep. And then by Tuesday, I felt great. Like I still got a bit of the sniffles, but it's nothing like on Monday. I
Yeah,
can
you sound
usually
okay.
hammer it.
Yeah.
But and then other than that, like during the week, we went to the Oiler game, and I kind of want to get into that because it's probably one of the first times I've been to the Oiler game in forever, like actually at Rogers Place. Like the one I actually remember was when it was like newly open when I was still working at the strip club, where I went there and we got right gooned because we were getting ounces of tequila and pouring it in our beer while we were watching the game, and and I was useless for 2 days after that. Um, but and and that was me and one of the managers from the strip club and a couple of dancers. Yeah, don't do that. It's not good, especially if you have to work the next day. But but then I went with you, and it was fun. One thing that I learned about Rogers Place, even though when you're sitting in the high seats, you're a far away from the ice, but there's really not a bad seat in the place. You can still see everything because the seats are set up in such a way that you can always see over the person in front of you, even if they're standing, even being a short guy. And it's actually it's like the stairs are very steep. I don't like how steep the stairs are, but you can definitely see there's really not bad. And we had your buddy seats, and which are pretty good seats.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Big thanks to Schlebby for the donation of the seats. And you know, in fairness to what you're saying, like, and yeah, you're right about the seats. If you've ever been to an NFL game and sat up near the top, which is still like a few $100, couple $100 American, um, like actually looking at you're looking at the clock or like the screen all game because the field just looks like ants on a hill. And here, like especially Schlab seats, like and by the way, you know, you're talking about the stairs. We were second level, but we only went down like 3 rows, so we didn't have to, you know, go all the way down, all the way up. But you can still see everything.
Yeah.
And also it's like you know you just jump, and we're on the edge too. Like those are awesome seats. And yeah, thanks again to Schlabs for. forgetting them. But anyway, go on. Sorry.
But then we went down to the Wayne Gretzky lounge thing there.
Studio
Like that was
99.
pretty yeah, that's pretty cool down there.
Yeah.
It's it's a
Yeah.
huge place and
It was an exhibition game, so it's not like
yeah.
we were stapled to our seats. So we went down to Studio 99, and then the period started, and we kind of like sitting at the bar. So um, it's kind of a hidden gem. Like a lot of, I'm surprised how many people don't know about it, but maybe that's a good thing. Um, Thankfully, no one listens to our podcast, so we're good there. No, but
And the people that do listen to our podcast already know it's there.
yeah, but it's chock full of Gretzky memorabilia, and like even on a regular season, like a weeknight game, you gotta make reservations because they have like a buffet style cooking. Like maybe we'll go sometime this season, but it's packed. Unless you grab a seat at the bar, it's packed before the game, and a great like it's got so much Gretzky memorabilia. The Oilers radio network does their pre and post game show there, I think too.
Well, that's cool.
Yep.
And yeah, and then we did that and didn't really have much of a week after that. I've been working on some video projects for a couple of different charity events that I've done and might be working with a friend soon dealing with some stuff, but we'll cross that bridge when we actually get there and
I can't wait to hear
stay
more about it.
tuned. Yes, stay tuned.
Yeah.
But other than that, that's my week. But since we kind of ended with the Oiler game, what's going on with the Oil? Because I remember reading something today, something about we're getting a new goalie.
Well, yeah, we're getting a goalie. Well, it's a new goalie, I suppose. We acquired a goalie today.
New
Um,
to us.
yeah, yeah. His name's Connor Ingram. He's 28. He's got a career save percentage of like 902, which isn't bad considering his longest stretch in the NHL was like as a starter for the Coyotes, who absolutely sucked. Um, there's a lot of potential there. He went he went into the NHL player assistance program for like OCD, believe it or not, and he's learned to deal with that. He won the Masterton Trophy, which is an NHL award for the player who most exhibits dedication and commitment to the game. And he's kind of bouncing back from that. He's in a crowded goalie carousel with Utah, and he actually cleared waivers. Now, to explain that briefly, when you clear when you get put on waivers, it just basically means that another team in whatever order the other 31 teams are in can pick you up as a property of your team, but you got to eat the whole contract. And his particular contract was 1.915 million a year. He's got one more year left this year, and nobody took him because, like this, with the salary cap being what it is, it might not seem like a lot when you're talking about 90 odd million, but it's most teams pretty much have their budget and have everything set, so it's hard to take a bite like that. The minimum that you can bury a contract in the minors or the maximum is 1.15. So, anyways, he cleared waivers despite teams might wanting to be in like might be despite teams likely being interested in him. He cleared probably because of that price tag. So the Oilers made a trade today, a few days after he cleared waivers, um, wherein the Utah Mammoth, his previous team, 800,000 of that 1.915 million, meaning that his actual cost to us on the cap is 1.15 million, which basically has zero implications whatsoever on our cap. Utah basically did us a favor, and there's no it's future consideration. So it's basically you get a player for nothing. He's got a lot of potential. He had that little hiccup with the OCD thing or whatever, but there's no questioning his talent, and he's gone straight to Bakersfield. He hasn't been playing with the Mammoth at all in camp, so he's going to get up to speed. And if you're an Oilers fan, or if you're down on our existing goaltending duo of Pickard and Skinner or whatever, don't expect um, Connor Ingham to step in there and save the team or be lights out in November, he might be down there all year. But it's definitely a really nice insurance policy to have. And a kid with a shit ton of upside. So you never know how this might work out. But that's the
So,
move. And then go ahead.
but I have a question. So let's just say, hypothetically speaking, Skinner gets hurt.
Yeah.
So then they'd pull him up.
Yeah.
So if one of our goalies get injured, that's kind of what it is to have him down in the minors like that, is to we have someone to bring up.
Yeah. Or, like there's other scenarios, but yeah, for example, like if Skinner got hurt, his hit against the cap is 2.6 million. And you'd call Ingram up at 1.15. Skinner would be on IR likely, and that 2.6 is not going against our cap, and we're only replacing with 1.15. Also, if like you wanted to send Calvin Pickard down, or if he gets hurt, it's 1 million, I think, is his cap hit. So either way, it's a wash. And you know what? Like I said, he might start in the A and just be lights out. And you go, maybe by Christmas, you go, we got to give this kid a look. And you'd have to waive Calvin Pickard or something. And there's probably going to be teams that'll be takers on that. But whatever. I mean, this is all speculation. It's
Yeah,
basically
no,
getting
but
a goalie for nothing.
yeah. And and for those who are listening, I'm not jinxing our goaltenders by saying that I wanted them to get hurt to bring this guy up. It was a question.
Yeah,
It's
no,
not
and
meant to jinx anybody.
yeah, and a very reasonable one too. And yeah, so as far as the rest of the thing goes with the Oilers, they're playing in Seattle tonight. It's game 7 of an 8-game preseason schedule. And actually, the injury bug's gone through the team. They, like, 3 guys that they've already waived, like sent away from training camp, got called up for the Seattle game. Uh, Villami Marhala, Connor Clattenburg, and James Hamblin, Edmonton product, all got called up after being waived last week to the Condors to come play in Seattle because it looks like there's a bug going through the team too. And these games are pretty meaningless now. I mean, having said that, like later on in camp is when guys really want to get firing on all cylinders. But if it's a Wednesday night away game in Seattle, like guaranteed McDavid and Draisaitl aren't going. I think we play again on Thursday, tomorrow, or Friday. That'll be the game where you see most of who will likely be on the NHL roster. So um, season starts for real October 8th, which is as of right now in a week. So it's time to get excited, Oilers fans. Keep your eye on the waiver wire, but more than anything, yeah, it's wait and see. As far as sports
Okay.
goes, we're not going to talk about the Eskimos, with the exception of mentioning the unfortunate passing of Larry Thompson, who bought the team last year. Um, his family's still
Oh,
committed. Yeah, his family's still committed to the franchise, and hopefully there's good things ahead for the Eskimos. But they won. They won this past week. They're on a bye this week. Their likelihood of making the playoffs is minimal on a crossover, but you never know. There's still lots of season left, so stay tuned.
that totally sucks.
Yeah, yeah. He had
You
only he
know,
had, they said he had a weeks long battle with cancer, and it was pretty sudden.
and the thing is though, is when I remember reading the article that they did on him, that he was excited to finally get the team. He's been a
Lifelong.
lifelong fan, and yeah, and then he finally gets the team, and cancer gets him. That's kind of
Yeah,
sucks.
yeah. God bless Larry Thompson. I think the team needed that, and hopefully there's good things in the future that would make him proud of this storied CFL franchise known as the Edmonton Eskimos. Um, the last thing and the biggest sports news of our week is that the Toronto Blue Jays won the American League East. They won the American League East, which is their division, but they basically won like the American League. So if the so for those uninitiated, first of all, welcome to the Blue Jays bandwagon. Everyone's welcome. As a guy who's watched more than half of the games this year and is like huge baseball fan, Blue Jays fan, I'm super excited. They basically, if they So right now, what's going on is the wild card series. So what you want is if you're the Blue Jays, and it actually came down to the last game of the season, game 162. We were tied with the Yankees going into the last game of the season. But and I remember I was watching a game against the Yankees in like I don't know, like 2 months ago, and we had a series against the Yankees, and we beat them halfway through the series. And they said mathematically the Jays win the tiebreaker. At the time you're like, yeah, whatever. When's that going to happen? When's that scenario ever going to exist? So basically, what it means is that in our seasonal series with the Yankees, we won more games against them than they did against us. And there was like still a series left against the Yankees. We had already won that many games. So at the time, you just go, yeah, sure, as if that's going to happen where we need that. But lo and behold, we're going into game 162 of the season. Yankees are playing the Orioles. We're playing the Rays. Everything is still within our control. So even if the Yankees won, as long as we won, we would still tie them. And because of the tiebreaker, win the division. The Yankees did win, but so did we. Completely in control of our destiny. We won 4 games in a row. The boys, like anybody that tuned in, the celebration was awesome. And for me, it was awesome. Every team celebrates. They put on the ski goggles and they got the wine, the champagne out, and the beers and everything. But to me, it was just more that they like every single guy they talked to. It's like we're doing it for every guy. And like if you've watched the games like the last few months, at the end of every home game, at least, the folks from Sportsnet interview one player from the game, and usually the guy that made the biggest impact on that game. And I'm talking like 1 through 9 through the batting order. Like last week, it was like the backup catcher that hit the single that got us the win. He was the guy. Ernie Clement was the guy. Uh, the second last game of the season, and then Alejandro Kirk, who's they call Captain Kirk, who's our catcher, little fella out of like Mexico that wasn't even on anybody's radar when we signed him. So what happened with Alejandro Kirk, for those of you that are interested, is our scouts for Mexico were sent to a game in I think Tijuana to watch two Mexican pro ball teams play. Their job was to look at a certain prospect, and there were other scouts from other teams there to look at the same prospect. Well, the J scout that was there, um, he saw the prospect and he's like, yeah, he's okay. But he's like, who's that fucking catcher? Like Kirk wasn't on anybody's radar. We signed him as a free agent, and this guy's basically our starting catcher. We sent away Danny Jansen. Um, is it Austin Watson? Another like one of the best prospects in the league. We sent down. We traded away. I think it was him, or else Gabriel Moreno, one of the two, because Kirky just stepped in and he's like he's not a big guy. He's not going to steal you any bases, but he's just like humble and happy to be there. And like the guy knocked home 6 runs in a 13-4 victory, I think. But he hit a grand slam and then a two run homer after that. My point is though, and I'm sorry to get long winded here, but um, every single guy they talked to at the end of that game was talking about how we're doing it for each other. Like they looked like a real team. And they had like the renovations at Rogers Center. They even had an area where the guys could celebrate. They had disco lights going and shit, and guys are pouring champagne on each other. And every guy they talked to is, I'm just happy to do it for the guy beside me. And then they moved the party back out onto the field so that the guys could bring out champagne. All the guys on the team encircled the grounds crew, who are like the least recognized guys on the team, and they encircle them and they're pouring champagne on them and cheering them on, like just a
Uh,
collective effort. And it's I mean as far as like teamwork and fellowship and shit like that. Uh, that's what I'm as good as this team is. That's what I'm most impressed about. So go fucking go Jays. We're playing Saturday, 1 o'clock if it's the Red Sox, 4 o'clock if it's the Yankees. Tune in, folks, because this is going to be a ride.
Okay, let me ask you a question. So, with the fact that this was the end of the, you said the U.S. Division or whatever, um,
American League, yeah,
American League. When is the Super Bowl, Grey Cup, whatever the?
World Series.
That's it. Yeah.
Um, well, I
Like
guess we could safely
how many
say,
more rounds? How many more rounds
yeah, good
is it going to
question.
be?
So right now it's the wild card, and they're only 3 game series. So they already started yesterday. The Sox beat the Yankees. We're gonna play whoever wins that series. The Sox are up 1-0 in a 3 game series on the Yankees. Um, I think that's gonna go three. I hope it does. I hope they kick the shit out of each other, and they come to a Jays team on Saturday weary and beat up. But that the divisional. So what happens in baseball is like divisional series, conference series, World Series. You understand what I'm saying?
Okay,
Um, so we're
but the
gonna play
wild
the
card goes first.
yeah, and the divisional series starts for all the leagues, like for the American League and the National League. They start on Saturday, and those are 5 game series. So I reckon by the middle of like in a week's time, they'll start the conference series, and that's 7. So I'd say third week in October is you're in the midst of the World Series. And by the way,
Okay,
if the Jays make it all the way, and I'm not jinxing anything, I'm saying hypothetically, they have home field advantage all the way through, which is awesome.
sweet. Okay, now question number two. How tall are you?
5'9".
5'9". Okay, so all the way through this description of this Alejandro Kirk, you're saying this little guy. He's 5'9".
Is he
Okay, so
really?
why are you calling him a little guy?
I'm glad you looked it up.
I just looked it up. You called him a little guy. He's
Okay.
not a freaking midget. He's your height.
I
He might be smaller, shorter comparison to the other guys, but he's not a little guy. Like,
if you ever see a picture of him standing next to um that guy with the Yankees, like there's some tall players in the majors, but you're right.
no kidding. Like a
It's
lot of them are all legs.
yeah, it's just that he's not, and you're right. Like he seems smaller based on you're watching the screen, and like if you'd have asked me, just say Mooney guess, I'd have said like 5'7", 5'6", but he's also kind of stout. Like he's not he does not have
He's built.
he's
He's
a brick
wide.
shit house. Yeah, yeah, he doesn't have like a 6 pack, like
No,
but like it's just like yeah, what an awesome dude. Andrea got me a
it's
Jays jersey for my birthday, the City Connect one, and I wanted to get Kirky on the back, but I'd had to send it away, so I got Bichette. But he's my favorite player on that team for sure.
I had to as soon as you started calling, yeah, the little guy on the field. I'm like, okay, I got to look up
Okay,
how big this guy is.
Jimmy, on Saturday, um, by hook or by crook, we'll watch. Oh no, you got to work. We're gonna watch one of the
I
games in the divisional series, and when we do,
I
I'll
work
just
till
ask.
4. Are they usually day games?
Well, Jody's got his stag on Saturday, so Saturday might Sunday. Oh, Sunday is my mom's birthday. Anyway, we'll watch maybe Monday. Well, maybe
Yeah,
we'll
and
watch on Monday.
we'll see how many midgets are on the team. Um,
Yeah, but honestly, I'm gonna get you to commit to next week when we check in with our loyal audience to tell me whether or not, in an objective fashion, whether or not Kirky looks like a little fellow
he
out there.
probably does
Okay,
compared to
okay,
everybody else. Like I'm not,
okay. Thank you.
but I'm just saying when you're gonna call somebody a little fellow, okay, and maybe you should make sure that you calling him a little fellow, you're not the same height as the little fellow. Like,
I'm saying little in the context of the guys in the fucking field, man. I'm not saying little in the context of me. Like when I
I'm
talk about you, I don't go my little buddy Jimmy. I just say my buddy Jimmy. Like
what
fuck
is,
off.
you
If
have
I
said
if I was
you have said say hello to my little friend. You have done that. Um,
if I was watching you playing in the NBA, I'd probably say that little guy Jimmy. Not for nothing. Leave it alone. Stop.
okay, okay. But I've
That's
never
it for
been in the
sports.
NBA.
That's it for sports. Go
That's
Jays.
it for
Watch
sports.
watch these fucking games if you want to get excited about sports. Because I'm telling you, this could be a historical run in either way. Because how much these guys love each other, this is the team to cheer for. I'm out.
You're out. Thank God for that. Okay, so now one thing that like we spent a lot of time together. We like or a couple of it seemed like a lot more time than we actually did, but we did talk about bunch of stuff, and we were talking about I can't remember which. I think it might have been at the hockey game, superheroes, because I had just finished watching the new Fantastic Four movie, which if you haven't seen it, you should check it out. It's actually pretty cool. It's like it takes place like in the 70s ish, and it's really well done. But I think the one thing that the Fantastic Four did with this movie that I really enjoyed was they made them very much a family. And it was, and I'm not gonna, spoil the ending. The ending, you know, blew my mind. It was fantastic. It was very well
No pun
done.
intended. I said no pun
Uh,
intended. You said it was
yeah.
fantastic.
Okay. Yes. I guess there was a pun intended, but it was really well done. And we started talking about um the superhero movies or cartoons that we watched when we were kids. Like there was some live action, like, and I'm not talking Batman and stuff like that because there's been live action of that for as long as
No, no,
and
no, no, no. Wait,
Superman.
wait, wait. Like that was
But
the
I'm talking
genesis of
movies, but I'm talking about
yeah,
cartoons.
yeah. That was the genesis of our discussion. Was actually like you were saying it was in the '70s. I'm like, I wonder why they do it then because. But then I'm like, well, maybe that was the last time that people valued family and the nuclear family or families. But I'll leave it. I'll leave that there. But what I was where that conversation was headed was um, in the time that that movie is set in, when like you and I were young guys, like not
Yeah.
even adolescents, there was no live action superhero shit unless you were watching um, like the old '60s Batman reruns, which actually are actually really good. I
Oh
thought
yeah.
anyway.
With the pow and bam and boom and oh
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, 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 yeah. But like you actually, there were live dudes like Batman and Robin, with Burt Ward and um, fuck, who played Batman? Jesus. Anyway,
Oh, how do I not know who that is?
Adam,
I
Adam,
can see it.
Adam,
Adam West.
Adam
Adam
West and Burt
West.
Ward. Adam West and Burt Ward. Yeah, and what's his name? Who played the Joker? The guy. That's the best Joker ever, by the way. Like the Joker from the late '60s, early '70s Batman. Um,
Uh,
Oh, but like that's the Joker from the comic books. Like it wasn't like,
uh
I'm like God bless Heath Ledger and his take on the Joker or
That
uh
is by far the best. I'm sorry.
yeah,
I'll fight. I'll fight to the death on that one. But being closest to the comic books, yeah, you're right.
Caesar Romero.
Yes.
Caesar Romero played the Joker in those. Anyway, I don't want to get too far off track, but yeah, that was without question the best Joker. As far as and you know what? It's all fucking fantasy
Following the
anyway.
comic
So
books.
I'm gonna go with the comic book. You might want to do a woke, dramatic Joker, whatever, suffering, whatever. I don't give a shit. The guy who best resembles the Joker that we saw in our minds when we went to the drugstore and bought a comic book is Caesar Romero.
I'm not arguing that, but I'm talking like acting wise and the character that Heath Ledger did. Um, he has me 100%. And actually the Fantastic Four, it was 64 was when the
movie was
it
set.
took place. Yes.
But
So I knew it was 60s or 70s.
the discussion that we like, 'cause this is what happens, folks. Like when it, I shouldn't like the last podcast we did. We finished the podcast and then we talked for like 3 more hours. So there's really no shortage. It's just that now that we have a podcast, whenever Jimmy and I have a conversation about anything, we both have like our shared folder in Google Drive, and it's like we start talking about something like, oh, we gotta. It's either Jimmy or me pulls out the phone, adds it to episode notes. But
Yeah.
the foundation of that discussion was that in the '70s, at least when we were coming up, there were no live action superhero stuff, and then we started talking about, and you're like, oh no, there's Spider Man. Um,
Yeah, there was
go
some
on,
live
yeah.
action Spider-Man and stuff like that. But then then the cartoons, like the Spider-Man with like where you see the screen and it looks like a rotating like a building scape behind it. Um,
That
with of
was
course that
Yeah, like
was
we all saw the reruns coming up, like growing up. If you were born, if you watched any TV in the '70s, even maybe even early '80s, like that Amazing Spider-Man shit was all like it was done, but the reruns, like whoever got
ran forever.
residual, whoever got residual on the reruns for Amazing Spider-Man, like the original Spider-Man cartoon, probably made it more money than anybody that was involved in the original production because like you and I both have seen probably every episode twice.
Oh, easily.
But it was the content that we were talking about. Like just whoever did it, it was like I think it feels like it was late '60s or something. And it's like, are they on acid? Like I loved like I'm not a drug doer per se, but I'd love to drop acid or eat some shrooms and watch like the Amazing Spider-Man, like the original comic or the cartoon series. Like when he's falling
Yeah.
down a hole and it's like this psychedelic, like
And it's
miasma,
oh yeah.
like just crazy. But yeah, you were talking about the like the old Flintstones bit, where the guy's driving in his car and to you at home the car's moving, but to the people producing it, it's just the screen keeps going.
It's just a screen rotating.
Yeah. But that Spider-Man shit, I bet even now, like I don't even know if Kieran's ever seen it, but I bet he would say that that was trippy.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
And
And
then
I'm just looking it up, and the one we're talking about was it wasn't the Amazing Spider-Man, it was your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, and it was in 1967 was when it
yeah,
originally was released,
yeah, those
and
guys
it
those guys are all high on
and the
acid.
the reruns ran like all the way until the 80s. Like we were
Yeah,
watching that stuff when we were kids.
yeah, that
That was the friend.
superhero. Like I remember Super Friends used to be on like in the late '70s, like on Saturday morning cartoons. With
Yeah, oh yeah, Super Friends
Zan and Jaina and like you had Batman and Spider Man and Wonder Woman and shit,
and
Aquaman.
Aquaman and
But and I love that show because really like as a kid that's the only superhero content you got, and now that's just saturated, and obviously technology's caught up and they have those crazy movies, but like
oh
yeah,
yeah,
it's
because
almost
the
like it's like I almost miss it. Would have been nice to have more series with real people or whatever, but I don't know, it seems so oversaturated now in my
yeah,
opinion.
but the stuff back then was just like solid gold. You look at it now and you go, that was my favorite show, and I wasn't on drugs, and I kind of want to do drugs right now to watch it again. Um,
We should do
yeah,
that.
because you were talking about Super Friends, and they had the dog and everything, like the super dog, and
No,
and
Zan and Jaina had a pet, but they didn't. Superman didn't have his fucking dog.
no, he didn't have crypto. Yeah,
By the way,
but
you're a
oh,
nerd. Do you know anything about Zan and Jaina? Like, remember they were on that Super Friends show? Like, where the fuck did they come from?
you're talking the Super Twins. They weren't
Yeah,
the Super Twins. They were what were they called? This
but I just like I mean, listen, I was a regular consumer of comic books back then, and I don't remember seeing any fucking Zan and Jaina cartoons. You know, and
no,
so,
but
but
they weren't
I
part.
knew I know who Wonder Woman was, Superman, Batman, you know, like Aquaman. I knew all those guys, but then I'm like, what's up with these two like interlopers?
Yeah, because they could transform into animals and stuff.
Yeah, but like like who made the executive decision to include them with like our lauded superhero
Oh, they
brethren?
were fantastic. I just can't remember.
It was a fucking monkey that they had. That was it. They had a
Yeah, they
monkey
had the
with them.
monkey.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Good call. Like you could have got rid of the two of them and their stupid monkey and added the Flash. That would have worked for me.
They had the Flash.
Was the Flash in some of them? I don't remember, but
Yeah, he was.
the Flash was my favorite. I love the Flash.
Uh, you're confusing me now.
You
Because it
remember
had.
Zan and Jaina and their stupid monkey.
I know who you're talking about.
Nikima, I think they called her fucking monkey. Like, what is that? Like, what are you from? Like, they had Spock ears, I think, these guys. Like, and I'm like, I never heard of them before or since. So I'm like, I don't know. Like, maybe the executive who produced this show, his neighbor was on tough times, and him and his
They
wife
were
had
called
good
the Wonder
voices.
Twins. They were the
Yeah,
Wonder Twins, and the monkey was Gleek.
Gleek. Why do I
They
think
were the Wonder
Nikima?
Twins.
Maybe they said the word Nikima or something. I don't know. But having said that, I'm trash. I stand by my words of that. You know, wherein I trash the Wonder Twins. But like, what it's kind of like if somebody called me up and go, Mooney, like we're having a we're having a hockey game with like all of the NHL's like a like a charity hockey game with all of the NHL's best players from when you grew up. Bobby Orr is going to be there. Gretzky's going to be there. Dennis Potvin going to be there. You know, like Messi is going to be there, and we'd like you to join us. That would be like the Wonder Twins.
Hey, don't give yourself that much credit.
No,
Like,
I'm not. I'm not. I'm not. I'm saying that it's as that their thing on Super Friends is as out of place as the scenario I just described.
dude,
Unquestionably.
you have issues, man. You need to get your shit checked.
You watched that show too.
I know, but it's just you're dissing it, and it was a
Is no, I'm
great
not
show.
dissing the show. I'm dissing the inclusion of this brother and sister act with their stupid monkey that I never heard of before or since. Do you remember who the one you had to fucking look it up on Google?
I couldn't remember their names,
Oh, did you have Wonder
but
Twins
I
comic
knew
books
who they
growing up?
were.
You collected
What's
comic
that?
books. You collected comic books growing up. Like, did you ever have Wonder
In
Twin?
the Justice League, they did have they were in some of the Justice League um comics.
Okay, well, good for them. Yeah, Green Lantern showed up sometimes, by the way, too, on that.
Yeah,
Then you could have just had Green Lantern and the Flash as regular characters and got rid of those two dummies and their monkey. All I'm saying
the fact that you remember their names for Zen and Jaina, that is
shows I love the
fantastic.
show. Shows I love the show. But
But you're dissing on Zen and Jaina though. But it's just
big time, big time. I stand by what I said. Like nobody knows who the fuck they are. Like, why are they even there? By the way, since we're talking about live action superhero type shit, um, we'd be remiss if we didn't mention Linda Carter as Wonder Woman.
Oh, oh yeah, she was my first love.
That was a good show, man. Wonder Woman was good. I watched that.
Oh yeah.
They have a um they have they have a slot machine in Vegas. Like they have a Wonder Woman slot machine. It can be found at most places. And they play the song from the show, and it always makes me laugh. 'Cause, like if you win a bonus, it's like da, 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 Wonder Woman, and the like if you're lucky enough and your bonus lasts long enough, you get into the second verse of the theme song, and it's funny because we're talking like the late '70s, early '80s, maybe and it goes in her satin tights, fighting for your rights, and the old red, white, and blue.
Oh yeah.
A lot of people would consider that sexist now, eh?
Yeah, I guess they would.
I've done enough
But
talking. I'm sorry.
okay, so we're gonna bring up something else to bring up more out of Chris Mooney, because this is another conversation that we had this week that is it's actually quite an important thing that we need to kind of talk about, because it was something that was brought to my attention recently, was the fact that, for a lot of you that know, I do have like one of those fancy smartwatches that have the health monitors and all that kind of stuff. And it was set up to detect sleep apnea. And it did a test on me for 2 days while I was sleeping and said I have uh, uh moderate to high sleep apnea, that I should go get my shit checked. It doesn't say exactly go get your shit checked, but it and I mentioned that to you, and you deal with it.
Yeah. Yeah. That was a conversation that we agreed to park for the podcast, right? Um,
Yeah, we were
I
saving
I
it
have
specifically for today.
yeah, I have like personal experience with that. And for those of you that don't know, like typically, like they have CPAPs where you just put like two pillows in your nose, but at the end of or a mask like Bane, where it's like that and it wraps around your head. Um, but at the end of the day, whatever like facility you use to get the air into your nasal passage, it's connected to a hose that goes to a machine that pumps air in, that basically keeps that tract back there open so that you don't go apneic, meaning like stop breathing because your air passage is closed because you're lying down and whatever. There's all kinds of reasons, hereditary, um, lifestyle, that causes it, but um, most people snore. It's just whether or not you're an apneic snorer. And so what happens with sleep apnea is that there's like, I think it's the deepest sleep. Is it REM, Jimmy? I'm not sure. Like the deepest
I,
sleep.
I think REM is the deepest.
Yeah. So like if you're apneic and you don't address it, you actually you literally never have a full night's sleep, because when you get to the crest of like the deepest sleep, which is the most restful and the most regenerative, if you're apneic, you don't like you don't hit that, because every time you get close, you go you go apneic, right? So Jimmy mentioned it to me because of his watch. And I'm telling you, Jimmy, like if your watch is saying that to you, then I reckon it's probably way worse than what the watch thinks, because it's just some instrument on your hand. Or you might even leave it on the night table, who knows? But um, I'm just glad that you asked me to refer you to a doctor, because I've been telling you, and you got to go see my guy anyway. So, you know,
Yeah,
because I no one should have to go through a finger up the ass alone.
you when I'm going for that, you're not coming. I've had other friends, offer, hey, I'll come. And yeah, no.
I'm coming. I'm like I'm his guardian. Anyways, so why don't you tell us like what your concerns are?
Like I've had people tell me and that I do stop breathing. Like at least that's what loud. But it's sort of hard to say. Like I've had people that tell me that I go and then stop breathing and then I start again.
Yeah,
But some of the people that have told me that over the years um, exaggerate. So it's hard to say if they're. But if it's telling me that and there are a lot of like there are a lot of times like we were talking about this that I wake up and I'm almost as tired as I was when I went to bed.
yep,
And
yep,
or I'll wake up every 3 or 4 hours. Like I'll wake up in the middle of the night and then have to fall back to sleep.
yeah.
And and that could be like as you were kind of describing, that could be part of it.
And honestly, like you're not like we're talking about like you stop breathing in the midst of sleep. Like that will not kill you. Like that like because eventually the pressure gets such that the gateway opens again. It's just that it's not open enough for you to get deep sleep. So you're not going to die from suffocation because you have apnea. The pressure will open the passage, but you will never reach REM sleep. What you will die from with apnea is like heart problems, like it wears you down. Like
Lung
anyway,
problems.
yeah, like there are a lot of like implications that happen over time as a result of being apnea. And so the irony about all of this is that like I just thought it was a bunch of bunk. And um, the partner with whom I was sleeping before Andrea would just kick me, and that wasn't helpful when I was snoring. And I'd turn over to my side and whatever. But like when Andrea and I started living together, particularly, it's like she started wearing earplugs. She wore a face mask, at bedtime, and like one of her friends did a CPAP machine, and she said, you really should get checked for sleep apnea. And like honestly, she never kicked me. She wasn't a bitch about it, but the fact that she like wanted me to go and that she did everything she could, because the last thing you want to do if you love somebody is like keep them awake at night or disrupt anything with them.
Yeah.
She's a wonderful person. I don't want to fuck around. Like, so I was like, typical dude. I'm like, fine, I'll go, but I'm not wearing a fucking mask. That was what I said to her. And then I went to a sleep clinic and they gave me an implement to put around my head, actually. Um, and it's pretty uncomfortable. So the first time I brought it home and did that for a night's sleep, they didn't get good results because I was like waking up and shit. And um, so we did it again, and they're like, "Oh yeah, you're apnea. You had like 4 events an hour or 5 events an hour, whatever their metric is." So what they do is they go, "Well, we'll give you a loaner machine to try out." Um, and like it takes a bit of getting used to with the mask and shit, but that was the one they gave me, like the Bane, like the Bane mask.
Oh yeah.
And I put that on and it kind of wraps around your head. And like the second night, I fucking woke up and I was like the most refreshed I felt after a night's sleep in probably 15 years.
Oh wow.
And I'm like, holy shit. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, okay, I'm sold. I brought it back before that I even needed to. And I'm like, I'm getting one. And uh, literally since then, my memory's better. I sleep longer because like the machine keeps track of how many events you had an hour, with just by virtue of you wearing the mask. But it also tells you how long you slept. And I like um I I used to sleep in till like 10:30, when I could, like on weekends and shit. And it's like now, like, presuming that I go to bed before midnight, it's unheard of that I wake up, like later than 8:30. I mean, like, some weekends Andrea goes to bed before me and I'm up before her. And you know what? I feel great when I wake up. So that one to me, that was like, um, obviously I'm not hearing myself snore. I'm sleeping for fuck's sakes, but it was the tangible benefit of like actually waking up and feeling like you're supposed to when you wake up that sold me. So I was like, okay, I take back all the shit I said about not wearing a mask. I'm getting it. Let's get after it. And we haven't had a problem since. Now that was over 10 years ago, I reckon.
Oh, well. Because I know, like, last summer when I traveled with my friend Naomi, she was worried about the amount that I snored, and
Yeah.
said that I need to get it checked, and I just kind of went, eh. But then when my watch goes, dude, you need to get that shit checked, and it's a medical device or whatever. It's supposed to, like, it's programmed to be able to tell you that stuff, like your heart, blood pressure, and heart
Yeah.
rate. When it goes, dude, go to the doctor.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not, it's your watch. It's not a medical device. It's a
No,
consumer
no,
device. But I'm saying,
it's got
yeah,
sensors and stuff.
no, no. And like if, what I'm saying is if that's telling you, I bet if you put the thing on your head, like I was talking about, they'd be like, "Oh my God, how come you didn't come in here 10 years ago?" And that's another thing you mentioned that brought to mind something is, um, just before I committed to doing that, uh, Kieran had a hockey tournament in like somewhere, and like the parents, we get the rooms with the kids, and they stay with the parents in the room, and Kieran and I were on this tournament, and I didn't have the CPAP, and I get up and he's not in his bed, and then I go and like he's sleeping in the tub because my snoring, no, literally my snoring was so loud. You can imagine what
Said
an
he was
asshole
in
I,
the tub.
yeah, yeah, I felt like such a dick. Like you don't know because you're sleeping, and I'm telling
Yeah.
you, yeah, you got to get that. You got to get after that. We're gonna chart like between now and next podcast. Let's get you on like at least a referral or something. We'll sort that out.
Yeah. We got to do something with that.
We'll do like Jimmy's. So today's segment is Jimmy's sleep apnea process. We'll find a better name, but
Yeah. Jimmy growing up.
Jimmy all grows up.
Jimmy all grows up. Okay. So we talked about that. We talked about nerd stuff. We talked about sports. Where is there something there where you want to go there, bud?
I want you to handle more because I feel like I've been talking too much.
No, but we've been talking about the same stuff and on the
Okay,
same
okay, as
page,
long
and
as
we're
you don't
kind of
mind.
it's
I don't really
conversating.
care. Like I just, yeah, I don't want to be like talking over or nothing.
Actually, you know what? I'm going to bring something up. It's on our prep, and it's something that I noticed a bit on our last podcast, and then I've had pointed out from my cousin Angela, who actually listens to our podcast, and she does say that we have some interesting stuff to talk about, and but there's some things that we do, both of us, and you as well, that kind of makes us sound like all the filler words.
Yeah,
We talk about filler words because one thing, and I noticed it when you and I talk, and we're talking about something that you know a lot about, like real estate. When we were talking about all this stuff, um, and when you're talking about sports
sports. Yeah,
and whatever. But now, when you're talking about stuff that you're just kind of making it up as you go, you're kind of just trying to say stuff for the sake of saying it. You say
well,
like a lot. No, you say like a lot. Like when we're talking about nerd stuff, that you try to, like, when you're getting into um trying to explain Star Wars and you know jack diddly shit about it. You say like a lot,
That's
and
awesome feedback. That's awesome. Like honestly, because I know I say a lot, like in precisely in those times when you're thinking whilst talking. When I talk about sports, I just said when I'm talking about sports, I know exactly what I'm talking about. There's no pause for thought. You're not processing and talking simultaneously.
and I'm the same way
So
about Star Wars. Like if
yeah,
I'm going into there, we're talking about the different lightsaber styles. I can tell you who did what to who and with what and what lightsaber. And
yeah. I just feel
but
like
if
you're
I'm
coming
trying to
after me a little
explain,
bit. You're coming after me a little bit when you're like, oh,
no, but
you
I'm
do
the
this.
same
When I
way. But
talk
I'm
about you're trying to suppress my comments when you talk about Star Wars. So you're like, oh,
but
whenever I talk
I'm
about
the
it, you're
same. I'm the
like
same way when
it's
I'm
kind of a
trying to
cocksucker move,
sound
Jimmy.
smart. Yeah, when I'm trying to sound smart like I say a lot of you knows. And one thing in the last podcast, which I was drinking a little bit and trying to
Yeah,
interject
is
into
that
different
like you said
conversations.
I was drinking a little bit. Is that like the kind of with the smoker?
Yeah, kind of.
I kind of
Yeah,
burned it down. I was drinking a little bit. I woke up on the floor of my bathroom, but I was drinking a little bit.
just a little bit. But one thing I found in the last podcast, when ever trying to change the subject, is one thing that I caught myself doing is
Yeah,
on a different note, especially
yeah.
trying to change your subject because sometimes we both do it where we just talk and talk and talk and
It
talk
gets away from you.
on a different note.
Yeah,
So let's talk about something else. So that's one thing that I learned when I was in radio because I was editing all the time. I was listening to the like the filler words. Like an example is in this paragraph, I probably said like about 10 times.
yeah.
Like you learn when you're doing radio and you're doing this all the time, especially if you're editing it, you
Get away.
know what it is that you're saying and to work on it. And it's just little things to clean us up, to make us sound a little more professional so that people will actually pay to listen to us. Um, good
Um,
luck.
yeah. No, but and that's the benefit too. Like you were saying with the radio is unlike most of your listeners who are like driving in a car or working on a spreadsheet at work while you're playing, they're not going to listen to those nuances. But I think if we're going to present content to people, we have a responsibility to at least make sure that it's, I mean, I always do, that it's somewhat professional. So it's good that at least you're paying attention to that. um
Yeah,
because
you're
you
all
need
about you're all about professionalism. That's one thing that I've known
Thanks.
about you.
So that was Angela that pointed that out, right?
Yeah, my cousin.
Angela, thank you very much. I don't listen to our podcast. Like, I do it and I love it and I love this guy, but I'm not when I'm driving. There's usually something else on my dial. But having said that, because I don't, it's less likely that I'm going to catch my inconsistencies or um, like idiosyncrasies that might need notes. So definitely
I
the
find
like.
that I find that I listen to it more and more lately, especially when you have all these glitches that show up on your computer that where we have to go through and I have to cut stuff out,
Got me
or if
scared of
one of
that
us have
happening again.
or if one of us has to in the middle of the podcast has to go pee and then has to go back and wash his hands because the other person complains, or something like that.
Like I'm a
You
team
know,
guy, so I won't identify who that one of us is. So that's all
yeah,
good.
yeah, no, it was me. Um, I I'm not shy.
So the point, the crux of what you're saying is like that feedback. So you said on another note, right?
Yes.
I don't mind that. Like, and honestly, like I said, I don't really microscopially listen to our thing. But I never really noticed that too much. we talked about this too. I've seen people like even on Rogan that are like that have a I just said like now I'm conscious of it, which is good because I'll work to eliminate it. But they subconsciously inject like an expression. And like Rogan had a guest that just kept saying that on everything. And I couldn't believe it. I'm like, how
Oh,
do you not know that? And I'm like, in an hour, you probably said that expression at any rate. I think it was. This person said at any rate in an hour, like if the over under, if I'm setting it right now and the over under in an hour was like 50 and I picked under, I'd probably lose. And we don't know that we're doing it. So that's why it's nice to have someone like Angela to point that out.
but I
It's the
caught
way that I
myself
can
doing
improve.
it every time we tried to change the subject. Actually, cause I
Hmm.
think in the last podcast, we were talking about something. I can't remember what it was. And I'm like on a different note. And then I tried to bring up something else and you go, yeah, but I'm not done there yet. I need to go in and do this. And then to, because you weren't done because, we all have to be done.
Like maybe say I have AIDS. I'll stop talking.
Uh,
And there's
but
also like a lot of worse um expressions you can use. Like I hate when people go switching gears. Anyway, switching
that's kind
gears.
of, but that's kind of like on a different note. That's kind
Yeah,
of the
but
same vein.
like for anyone that doesn't know, Jimmy edits this after not the content, but like the start and the finish. And if my
If
computer
there's,
acts stupid, yeah. But
yeah,
um, having done that, like I can't imagine that you picked yourself out saying that 20 times. And you know what? And like you think of a regular radio show, like you go in this next segment or on our next segment, we will, or whatever it is you guys do. Like there's cue words, right? Like it's
but the
funny because you
difference
mentioned it to me, and I was like, I barely noticed.
the difference between this and an actual radio show is there's a huge difference. Let me kind of explain why, because I've been in the industry. In in a radio show, like when we first started on Cruise, we had free reign. Like we'd have 10-minute breaks where we were talking about something for 10 minutes. But
Yeah,
normally when you're talking in between songs or in between commercial breaks, you have 3 or 4 minutes. It's not so you're going in and say we're talking about okay, Superman and this and that. Who's your favorite superhero? And then we leave, and then there's a song, commercial, we come back. Previously we were talking about your favorite superhero, and a few people text in who their favorite is. So, like, you had to talk in between all this different stuff. So you had to have segues in between each break, which it was broken up a lot more than if we
yeah,
have a large conversation of 10 minutes talking about stuff like this. It's totally different. You know what I mean?
definitely. And I think, like you say, broken up a little more, but I say like the conversation has less flow. That's why I love this format. Like I listen to podcasts. Seriously, in the history of Chris Mooney, um, I've probably spent more hours in the last 5 years, maybe 10, listening to podcasts than I've listened to AM radio, like talk shows, in my whole life. Just because there is that organic, like we even just said it. Um, I just said that's good that I'm working on it, but that we don't edit it. We don't, besides bathroom breaks or glitches, and it's just authentic. So I'm cool with that. Try to work on myself and do a little less likes and a little less ums, but like, I mean,
But
you're
the thing is though, is one thing, and I had to be taught that is in working on it, you can't point it out every time you do it. You
Yeah,
have
I'm not doing
to
that
keep
again.
it silent. You have to keep it
Yeah,
silent in your head and go, oh, I just said like, no, like you can't, or else people are going to be focused on that. We need to focus on that, but not get the people that are listening focus on that, or else that's all they're going to hear.
like keep your internal dialogue internal and
Yeah. We could
focus on
talk about it
like
before and
I'm like, dude,
after.
look, Jimmy looks really good today. Love that T-shirt. I wonder what it means. That's the internal
Funicular.
dialogue. Yeah, actually, I meant to ask you about it anyway.
You know that thing in the River
Yeah, I
Valley
do.
that
I do.
goes
I've been
down the
on it.
River Valley, the
Smells like urine
funicular.
now. Yeah, I scootered there with my
Okay.
kids, and we went down it, and it smells like urine, and it's just
It,
it
and,
probably doesn't even
and we
work
were
anymore.
making fun of it. So we made the fact that the city spent so much money on this thing that just goes down the hill and up is
Yeah,
basically a moving outhouse for homeless people to pee in. And
we
so
agree.
it's F
Yeah,
unicular.
that's what I was
So
hoping it meant. That was literally what I was
yes,
hoping it meant. Yeah, yeah.
that's exactly what it meant. We don't sugarcoat it.
So, are we done with your on another note? Because honestly,
Yeah.
I don't think that that's that intrusive. You might say it five, six, 7 times an episode, but who
But
gives a shit?
I just caught it. I just caught it. Last episode was a little extensive, just on my end of things.
Well,
Just what I
last
noticed.
yeah, I was probably a little less easier to manage last episode too. The
Because I
one
think
before
you were already drunk when. No, you already were a little bit sauced.
that, just a little bit, kind of.
Okay, so we're just gonna hit a couple more things real quick. And one thing you wrote on here, and I'm kind of curious about what this is about. Waco miniseries.
Yeah. Um, Waco with like David Koresh and the Branch Davidians. I think that happened in '93, if I'm not mistaken. You can check,
Something like
Jimmy,
that.
but and like I'm in the midst of university. I think I initiated in '93, so it's not like I was spending an hour watching the evening news every night. But um, we come away with the narratives or the bits and pieces that we see publicly available about stuff. And I was actually watching Taylor Kitsch on Rogan last week, and because I'm a big fan of like Jack Carr's novels and like the Terminal List novels, and I was watching Dark Wolf. And, like Taylor Kitsch, by the way, is from Kelowna, and he's an awesome Canadian actor, and he's been some really good shit. But he was talking to Rogan about when he played Koresh. I'm like, oh, Taylor Kitsch played Koresh, and Andrea and I like watched there's a mini series on Paramount called Waco, and it stars Taylor Kitsch as David Koresh. And wow, I just I I was blown away by. I'm actually yeah okay, I'm getting ahead of myself. I was blown away by how it was framed to the masses that consume media versus what really happened. And this is not a conspiracy theory. Trust me. Like there were guys that were working for the FBI. Gary Nessner has written a book about it. I'm just finishing a book written by one of the guys that escaped from Waco, like the Branch Davidians that didn't get charged. And, you know, the FBI were like, they're shooting at us. They weren't shooting at them. And then they put in tear gas and they basically killed people because tear gas, when left for too long, is like an incendiary device. That whole building burned down and all the children died. I mean, it was mind blowing watching the show. And I'm not I'm not one to like follow conspiracy theories or anything like that. I'm all about objectivity. But watching that show and then in fairness, I feel like that show was probably that miniseries starring Taylor Kitsch called Waco on Paramount Plus. I feel like it might have been a little too sympathetic to Koresh, but by the same token, the narrative that we were fed by mainstream media and whatnot was not in adherence to what the FBI hostage negotiator guy said, nor the guy that escaped said, who was basically a skeptic living amongst them. And I recommend it. Is I guess is all I want to say. Like again, the miniseries is based on two books. One written by a fellow named David Thibodeau, who actually escaped before everyone died, and another and escaped is the right word because I mean they were engulfed in flames. I don't like there's so many things wrong with Koresh and whatnot, and I'm not by
Yeah.
any means trying to defend the fella or nothing, but by the same token, you're allowed to be crazy, uh, as long as you're not harming the public good. And what compelled the ATF specifically, um, and and then like consequently the FBI in that whole thing, like that whole standoff. From what I've read so far, not that I'll give an update if I'm wrong, seemed almost government staged. The ATF was about to be defunded, um, and there's just it's so. Like I said, I'm almost done the book by the guy that escaped. Can't wait to read the FBI hostage negotiators book. But that guy fought against the fellows that wanted to drop tear gas into the house where these people were actually ready to surrender. I mean, eye opening. Anyway, is all I wanted to say. I mean, unless you had any questions.
No, I have an idea like of like again from what I've read in the past dealing with what happened in Waco. But you were talking about Taylor Kitsch. He's been in a lot of stuff
Oh yeah,
and a lot of
yeah,
really good stuff. Like he was in John Carter, uh, science fiction show from Mars, Battleship, great show. He was actually in Wolverine.
yeah. He
He
was in a
played
show.
Gambit.
He was in another like him and he and Rogan talked a lot about like how do you get into character? Like when you play a guy like Koresh, for example, and he was talking about a pill popper show where there was something from Africa. Are you looking at his wiki or
Yeah.
um uh and that was another really fucky one that I intend to consume. Um Something about pills or whatnot. And he says like I kind of immerse myself in the character and he has a close friend that's like an ex NHL player slash buddy slash bodyguard where when he was doing Koresh or either prepping for that other show, the pill pop, whatever, that he like they go to the bar and he's like consumed by the character and then he's just like out of control. And I'm like, I can kind of see it. Like it's where it's like you live the experience, right? And
And there's a lot of actors that really get immersed and they're very method. They have to get right into the parts, uh, and stuff like that that just are amazing actors.
yeah,
And I
you
couldn't
know,
do that.
what brings that to mind to me, sort of as an aside, is like um how do I explain this? With my kids, I've lived with people like their mom, for example, that um when they have a bad day at work, it's everyone's job to be, like the sounding board for your bad day. So you're having a
Yeah,
bad day at work and it's like you're mad and you're sour and you come home at dinner time and you're a fucking asshole to your family because at least they won't leave, right? Like if you're an asshole to your boss, he's going to fire you. But if you have all this
yeah.
pent up rage because of your shitty job, you're going to fucking leave. And one of the things that I said to my kids who are both in third year university on track to get through their undergrad in 2 years is like do well in school, not because like you know what you want to do or anything like that, but And even when you start U of A, when you're 18, like how do you know what you want to do for the rest of your life? But understand that when you're an adult, you're going to spend like a third of your life doing something to make money to provide for your children, pay your mortgage, whatever it is you decide to do, and get get good enough grades so that when whatever it is that you decide that you want to do, you can do it because your grades are good enough. But the point being, and the underlying point that I know that my kids understood was that, um, like when you make that decision, like it's inspired by I want to do something that I like doing, so that I don't come home and ruin the other two thirds of my life because I'm pissed off about that third of my life that like I gotta do. And you
I
understand what I
totally
mean?
agree with you. I
So
totally
it's like
agree with you.
you're
Like
consumed
when
by
I
your
was working
job.
at the radio, when I was working at the radio station, I loved what I did. I really loved my job. Did I
Yeah,
always go home happy? Like, did I always have a great day? No, but I loved what I did. And it was something that I woke up in the morning, even if I had a shitty day the day before, I still woke up in the morning and went, I'm looking forward to work. And, I kind of see where you're
yeah.
going with
That
that.
that's like my whole like no one's gonna have 365 great days. Like it's gonna suck. And then when you have the bad days, you're gonna fall back to why am I here? And you're gonna go, because I love this job. It is what it is. And
Yeah.
when you have those bad days and you don't love your job, whether it's subconsciously or consciously, you're going to lash out. That you're going to express that frustration around the people that you supposedly love, and then get after it and whatever. And it's not good. And not to mention the fact of that you're not going to be happy. So
Yeah.
bringing it all the way back to what we were talking about those actors that really get into their character. It's like you have to pretend that you're this guy that you find morally repelling, and you have to show up on set at whatever time it is that your shot is, and probably before for makeup and all that shit, and you have to be consumed by this guy. And like you and I both agree, Taylor Kitsch is like an awesome actor, and he is. Um,
But we were
but it's
talking
like,
about that where they get right into the character. I
yeah,
don't know if you've seen this movie. It's with Matthew McConaughey, Jared Leto, Jennifer Gardner, a bunch of others. Dallas Buyers Club.
yeah, yeah, I saw that.
Like 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 with Matthew McConaughey and Jared Leto, they went full bore into that. Like they lost weight
Yeah, they
and
were like
they
they got skinny as fuck and shit. That was the gay show,
and
right?
like they were
The
they
AIDS.
were
Yeah,
like uh yeah, no Matthew McConaughey's character, if I remember correctly, I don't think he was, but he got AIDS. And then Jared Leto played the gay character,
I think McConaughey was like closet or something. I maybe I'm wrong. I
but
always
I
thought it
can't
was.
remember. I did see it, but they were both
Yeah.
AIDS patients, and just the acting that they did in there, and what they did to their bodies, like they were skin and bone,
So that's a good
and
question.
it wasn't makeup or nothing. You could tell that that was real. It, and I think they won awards for it, if I'm
Yeah,
not
yeah,
mistaken.
yeah, for sure. At least nominated. But let me ask you this: like, based on the discussion that I heard with like Sheridan and Rogan, or not Sheridan, Kitsch and Rogan, like where he says, "Yeah, I like became that guy," and he does. Like he's like, yeah, like anybody who's listening, watch Dark Wolf on Amazon. It's part of the Terminalist series. Taylor Kitsch is awesome. Or even True Detective on HBO. Like he did such a great job. I think it was season two. But
You said true. What was that? True Detective?
yeah,
Because
yeah, I think
Matthew McConaughey was in that too, wasn't he? I
he
think he
was in
was in the first season.
the first season. I think Tara Sheridan was he might have been first season. I could be wrong. Um, but he had to play a gay fella and whatnot. But like you got a bad day at work, but you drive home, park in your garage, and uh if you have a loving family and you actually like your job, you go, it was a bad day. I'm good. But
Yeah.
if you're an actor who's consumed by a character, and that consummation is why you become good at being that person, that's got to be a lot harder to come home at 6, even if you
Yeah.
got a happy family home, and not have that affect the people around you. And that's what he said on the Rogan podcast.
When Dallas fires, uh, Matthew McConaughey and Jared Leto won best actor, best supporting actor.
Nice. It was a good movie. I mean, like
Like
I
it,
would like, you go like it was a good movie, but like I don't think it's the best movie I've ever seen. I mean, it's a
no,
good way
like
for me to spend the.
it's a great movie to watch. It's not one that I'd put on my
No,
rewatch, like
I'm like
watch it a
it
bunch
was
of
it was a
times
great way
list.
for me to spend the hour and a half and change that I used to watch it, but I'll never watch it again. Not like
Yeah.
Goodfellas or that's something that there's a guy I follow on X, Super 70 Sports. I wear a lot of his T-shirts on this podcast, and the character that Chad Nelson played in Breakfast Club, like John Bender.
Yeah.
He's like should have won an Oscar. Do you remember the guy that won the Oscar that year? It was 86 or 87. Like who won the Oscar? And he was like, but everyone remembers John Bender. Not for
Oh yeah.
not for nothing, you know.
But
On
on a
another
different
note,
note, we're on a different note. So we are getting close to our, you know, ending time, and I wanted to end with with two things actually, and they're going to be really quick going in. For those of you who don't know,
hang
because
on,
we
hang
do
on, hang
sit.
on, hang on, hang on.
Okay,
Stop talking. You said on another note. Um, I wanted to ask you about the statement that you made, wherein you said the first time I got beat up by a woman, it was a win.
okay, we were drinking.
Okay, no, serious. Are you saying that you're not sincere when you're drinking? Like when we have talks, that you just tell lies?
I got beat up by a stripper.
Dude,
Um,
grab too much ass?
no, the night before was my birthday, and I was really drunk, and they were spanking me. I had bruises on my back, on my ass, on my legs, because I
Oh, was
was
that when you got beat up, or was it something
no,
after?
no. The next day,
Well, when you
I
when
gave
you can, I would
no,
contend that
just
if you got bruises on your body, you got beat up the night before.
but the but that was just on the part under the clothes. The next day, I gave one of the strippers a light tap on the ass. Said, "Hey, I'm leaving," and she was really, really drunk, and she beat the hell out of me. Like she speared me. Like if you watch wrestling, where you jump and you throw it's basically like an air tackle. I was down on the ground, so she got me in the face. I had a bruise right around
Okay,
here.
wait,
Like I
hang
had
on
two
a minute.
black eyes. No,
We're
just wait.
talking.
I had two black eyes. I had two black eyes, the shape of her tits. Um, and then, you know, and then she threatened to break my arm, and her boyfriend had to stop me or stop her. But it was a win because I
Thank,
got beat up by a stripper. But
thank God that her boyfriend saved you.
yes, and the bouncer. It actually took two of them.
But hang on, like so, this is all. Hang on. Wow, there's a lot to unpack here. The
You're the one
night
who brought it
before,
up.
the night before was your birthday, right?
Yeah, and I got
And then
really
and then
drunk. There was a
you
lot of
woke
shots,
you got really drunk, and then you woke up and you had like discoloration on your
handprints on
body
my ass and
from
my
all
back,
the
and
tomfuckery that, like
oh yeah.
all of the violations that these people did to your body. And then, so what? The next night, was it the next night?
The next night, I
Next
was
night you're
there, and
at the club, and hang on a minute. The woman in question that the next night woman in question, was she there when your body was violated?
she was one of them. Yeah,
Yeah. And so, but you're checking out for your shift, and you gave her a little tap on the
Just gave her
wrist,
a little, and she wasn't having it.
and she.
She she
Hold on, like when you talked about the assault, you said there's like an imprint of her breast on your,
right here, yeah.
like she assaulted you with her breast.
She
Maybe it was an
she
effort to reconcile and like give you the, no.
dude, she was gonna break my arm. Um, like she tackled me, and it just the way she tackled me. Usually, you aim for the chest. She aimed for my head, and it just
With the breast.
yes, she went like this,
So the breast
and and
like was swung.
and yeah,
You had like 10 ounces, like 20 ounces of silicone, just like
like like
fucking
like
taking you out.
when I showed up to work the next day at the or on the Monday at the radio station. Locke thought I got beat up by three people, and I'm like, no, just one stripper,
Actually, not even one stripper, one breast, one enhanced breast.
one pair of breasts. But yeah, but yeah.
I
So
wouldn't
that
call I
was
wouldn't call that a directed assault.
no, but
Like
but
if I want to beat the shit out of you, I'm not going to
if
hit
it
you
makes
with
you
my
feel
ass.
better, if it makes you feel better, she talked to me after, like about a week later, and she goes, you know what? I did get really mad at you, and for no reason. And so she started going to anger management,
When she was sober.
and she realized she overreacted, and it wasn't playing.
Well,
She
that's
wasn't
good.
playing.
Like because in our notes, I see first time I got beat up by a woman, it was a win. And in my value structure, like getting beat up by a woman doesn't exist. And if it did, it would not be considered a win. So now that you've explained the
But
story, I understand. And
now
that's,
that you
yeah, yeah,
understand, okay,
yeah.
because I've lived through something that not a lot of people have.
Yeah,
So in my case,
exactly.
it's a win.
Exactly. Like, man, like I keep thinking of I, um,
I have
my,
experienced things that you couldn't even
I,
imagine, dude.
I don't even doubt it. And despite like probably hundreds, maybe thousands of hours of talking, I haven't heard it all. But
Yeah,
I've never been um, swung at, luckily by a woman or anything. But I always wondered how I would manage that because I have nothing but the ultimate respect for women, and like how I grew up with two sisters, and my dad is a good man, and I would never put hand, like lay hands, like aggressive hands on a woman. And then, but then you think like, what if someone hits you? Because like my off switch is if someone hits me, and then it's like I revert back to when I boxed and all that other stuff. So you know, who knows? But I'm glad you expanded on that, Jimmy. I thought I'd be hammering you, but sounds like you handled it well, despite the fact that her boyfriend saved you.
and the bouncer.
Yeah, do you stay in
It
touch
took
with
two
those
of them.
guys? Like, do you?
I've heard from some of them from time to time.
Yeah,
But
yeah. It's a crazy
but
world we live in.
before we go today, because we're getting close to the end, this Friday is Monster Pro Wrestling. I haven't been there for a couple of matches because they've been on Saturday. It's Alberta Avenue Community Center. It's gonna be fun. I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna help do announcing. I'm gonna be doing some stuff managing the Pirates. They're actually defending their tag team belts this weekend.
That you
It's
helped earn.
Friday night. What's
That you
that?
helped earn. You helped earn that belt.
Exactly. So we're defending it this weekend. You don't want to miss it out. It's Alberta Avenue Community Center. 6:30 is the gates. 7:30 is the show. And if you haven't been to an MPW show, you have to. They're
Oh,
like a lot of
I've
the
been.
guys put
It's
in
awesome.
so much work. It's
Yeah.
so much fun. And if you want to see kids lose their minds and swear at perfectly good adults, they do it. and kids are not nice. It's so
Yeah,
much fun.
perfectly good adults and Jimmy,
And
but they'll
Jimmy, yeah,
swear they'll swear at those two classes of people.
exactly.
I highly recommend people go. You said Friday, doors 6:30, show at 7.
Yeah. No,
Yep.
show doors 6:30, show 7:30. We always open the doors 1 hour before.
Yeah,
It
it's a great treat. Go check it out.
and one last thing that I always want to end at, because this is October for those of you who don't know, and for those, Mooney, you probably don't know this, but October is Dwarfism Awareness Month. For those of you who don't know, I am a dwarf, and it is Awareness Month. So there's always like it's actually cool. Like you learn different things. And one thing that I've done since I've been in radio is every month on Dwarfism Awareness Day, which is on the 25th, uh, I always talk about one thing dealing with little people that people don't realize. I've talked in the past about uh, the use of the word midget, and why some people see it as bad, some people see it as good, like and like that. Actually, this month I'm actually planning on. I've actually started working on it. I'm going to talk about how a lot of people look at dwarfism as a disability, and it's an implied disability by looking at
Right.
it. And I'm going to explain a little bit more later on, but how in a lot of cases with myself, if you've heard my life story, I've been enabled to do a lot of things that I wouldn't have been able to do if I was a normal guy, if I was normal size. And the thing is I want to get into that. It's basically how it's looked as, oh, poor you. Like I've actually said to people, what do you do? Like they go, what do you do for work? And I tell them, and
Yeah,
they go,
like
did, like,
where do people like you go to live? Like, what
like,
the fuck is that? These fucking
like
guys.
people
Yeah.
will go, you actually have a job? And I'm, yeah,
So let me
but
ask you this, because actually, I think that we might be able to grab one other item off our notes.
okay,
Is like I said, like, anyways, um, you're my buddy. I don't know you as anything else, but now that you mentioned dwarfism, like, should I like lay flowers at your door every day,
uh,
or
uh,
should I just wait till the
I'd appreciate it. Um,
like the 25th is when I should like get a bouquet or something. But
just so you know, on Baldness Awareness Day, I will leave
there,
something at your door.
there, unfortunately, there is none. Like, anyways, here's my point. Double takes.
Okay,
So you could be like they have Black Awareness Month, they have Gay Awareness Year, um, they have all these groups like, and I'm not saying we shouldn't or whatever, but I mean in an equal society we're always aware of each other anyway, so I'm not sure it matters. But particularly when we're talking about like Dwarf Awareness Month, let's talk about double take.
the
Because
double
remember, it
take.
was it was on our notes, and we're like, what Oh, we remembered.
Yeah, because
Jimmy, tell us
were
about double take.
we were at a bar, you and I and our friend Ian. We were at a bar and we were
Yeah,
just drinking, and then we're sitting there talking, and I stood up, and as I stood up, this one guy went like did I just see did I just see a little person, you know what I mean, like the double take. I get it all the time, kids, adults, but in their defense, when I see someone that looks like a little person to me, I always do a double take. Like, holy shit, is that a midget? Like, like I do that too. Like, I'm like, if that's a midget, I might go say hi. But I do it too. So it doesn't offend me, but it's something that I notice all the time. You noticed it, and it's just funny where people are like, or they see
Yeah,
like.
yeah.
And by the way, we missed the bald day.
Oh, yeah. It's
There
funny
there
you
is
mentioned
a
because
there is a
I saw the
national
notes. You're like, there's a midget day, and then you're like, there's actually a ball day.
there
Like,
is it's National Bald is Beautiful Day. It's September 13th. We missed it.
oh my god, like, yeah, like, there's no way I would ever fucking talk to anybody about that because I'm like,
Bald
I'm
is
Chris
Beautiful
Mooney.
Day.
Oh my god, who are the people that arranged this? We're all
Uh,
people. It's all good.
Obviously
I'm
people that
like,
love being bald.
like some guy comes up to me, like a month after Bald is Beautiful Day and goes, "Hey, Chris Mooney, you got this really popular podcast. We'd love to." I'm like, I'd punch him in the face. I'm like, I'm just hanging out, dude. Why don't you fucking focus your attention to achieving success for you, your wife, and your family, and have a good life? Fuck out of here with the bald shit, right?
Oh, and I found another one. I don't know if this is actually a real thing, but I think we might have to, uh, you know, be bald and be free day, October 14th.
Yeah, yeah. I'm good.
Stop
I got.
hiding, stop hiding under your wigs and toupees, comb overs and hats. Be bald and
That
be
sounds
free.
that sounds like the Larry David. Like anybody of you amongst you that are listening, you have to watch Curb Your Enthusiasm because it's like unfiltered tomfuckery about like expressing your opinion, which is what we want to do here, right, Jimmy?
Yes,
And he's, he had an episode where you're not part of the bald community. There's no community. We're just people. The fuck, right? I
exactly,
mean, yeah.
exactly.
Oh, but it's Dwarfism Awareness Month.
But now October 14th is be bald, be free day. So we'll be talking
Yeah,
about that
but
next
that's also,
podcast.
but be bald and be free is also during Dwarfism Awareness Month. So
But you
I
can
don't
be
want to
aware of
I
more.
don't
You
want to
can be
steal your
aware of more
fire.
than. But you can be aware of more than one things in one day. Like think about it. Like and you know what?
So you can have.
What about the
What about the
dwarfs
bald
that are bald?
dwarfs?
What
The
about the
bald
bald
dwarfs.
dwarfs? Don't forget about the bald dwarfs. Leaving you on that note, let's talk about let's love the bald dwarfs. This is the Bald and Short of It podcast. I am James P. White. That is Chris Mooney. We look forward to seeing you next time,
Have a good
and
night, fuckers.
have a good night.